Donald Trump is on a roll. That is the subject of today's op-ed live, and I'm your host, Michael Wan. Thanks for watching us today. Well, Trump is on a roll, whether you like it or not, and his approval rating is going up across the board. Even in the usually anti-Trump polls, his numbers are up. And yes, even CNN admitted that Trump's approval rating hit the highest in 11 months, and it was in their own CNN poll. In the latest Fox poll, his approval rating hit 45%, and Trump even hit 50% in the new Rasmussen daily tracking poll. And you know what? Donald Trump usually does even better in real election. Look at what happened in 2016. He beat all the poll numbers. In fact, the only correct polls out there were the Investor, Business Daily, and LA Times, and also Rasmussen. These three polls were pretty correct. Even political analyst Larry Sabato said that you have to add 10 points to any Trump poll to account for the shy Trump voters. And Donald Trump is doing even better in swing states. So I read an article in the Washington Times, which is an excellent paper. I highly recommend it. Well, I would like to share the article with you. So this is from the Washington Times. According to pollster Richard Barris of People's Pundit Daily, he has Trump 2 points higher in Florida now than when he won the state in 2016. So he's 2 points higher than 2 years ago. And also, voter registrations in key battleground states have shifted dramatically and consistently to Republicans in North Carolina and Pennsylvania, which are also very important swing states. And Barris said that Republican registrations has improved in 10 of 12 battleground states, and also in every single battleground state where Donald Trump won. The tax bill is also getting really popular too, even though the mainstream media was screaming about how horrible it is. Because you know why? Because real people notice that the tax cut plan is a good thing for their pocket. That's why. And this also proves that the mainstream media today is nothing but fake news. Let's run down the things that Trump already accomplished, according to the Washington Times. ISIS has been decimated to such a degree that the terrorist group is almost considered non-existent today. And Trump's record number of judicial confirmations continue to reshape the judiciary for a generation. And Washington Times also said that Trump's tariffs have almost certainly cemented large numbers of new voters in Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. I agree 200% on this. I mean, this was what Donald Trump's election was all about. And there are other issues at hand that gives Trump the edge. The Inspector General report is going to come out anytime soon. I believe that Inspector General Michael Horowitz will recommend an indictment for Andrew McCabe, the disgraced FBI Deputy Director, and possibly other FBI officials too. And of course, Andrew McCabe lied to the FBI and also flagrantly abused the FISA process and pretty much wiretapped the Trump campaign based on a fabricated Russia dossier. I can't even believe this happened in America. Well, I guess with the previous Obama administration, any corruption can happen. And Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, was the one who released the damaging text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, which signals that he is a righteous person. And there is more to come regarding this whole Russia-Trump fabricated collusion thing, which is coming as a boomerang to the Democrats. And there are House and Senate committees digging up on the collusion between the Democrats and Russia and the Uranium One scandal. Washington Times also noted that the Congressional Sex Fund is lurking with its name subject to being leaked at any time. There are up to 100 names on this list, and the Democrats comprise at least, if not more, than half of these. And Washington Times also mentioned that rumors continue regarding Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy's retirement, which would give Trump his second Supreme Court justice after Neil Gorsuch. While the Democrats seems completely lost in their own ideology, just being hell-bent to move further to the left and moving away from working-class Americans, they are being elitist and obstructionists at the same time. This is what the Washington Times said about the Democratic Party. Unable to divest themselves from Hillary Clinton, the 2018 Democrats are reduced to being fronted by a disturbing high school kid, David Hogg, high school kid who flashes Nazi-type salutes, Hollywood stars who the next minute are accused of Weinstein behavior, and an Asian porn star who has yet to produce any evidence at all of a supposed affair with Donald Trump that happened in the last decade. This is a modern Democratic Party. Washington Times is just spot on here. If you read the New York Times or the Washington Post, you don't get any these kind of real news. I think the Washington Times is probably currently the best paper out there. It's much better than the New York Times and the Washington Post. So I believe you have to change the way you read your paper. The New York Times is not the record of paper who they claim to be back in the 70s or the 80s. It's not like that. So why depend on the New York Times and Washington Post when there is papers like the Washington Times? And Donald Trump also announced that the border wall construction being funded by the military fund is also a very strategic move. If the plans go through, it's going to really realize Trump's southern border wall. And with every new regulation, Trump eliminated 22 existing ones, which is just amazing. The economy straining regulations has just hit the American economy so hard for such a long time that deregulation might be probably Donald Trump's biggest achievement so far. Trump played hardcore politics. He talked about important issues during his campaign, while Obama was more of just talk, entertainment. Now the fake news out there would say just the opposite. Well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right, it's about being right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.